Yo, P, what's good, bro? Trying to figure out how to wrap this beat up. project was only supposed to be 3 months. They decided that they want to keep me on until 26. So that's 3 years, nigga. Yo, wait a minute, bro. How 3 months? Uh this sound like a COVID pandemic when they told us, oh, 15 days. 2 years later, they told my man, oh, just 3 months. Well, you know what? Maybe until 26. I might have to find a new job. I can't. I gotta go to the YouTube app to finish that comment. I mean, why is that? Why is that a bad thing? I'll turn my ringer down. I ain't gonna do that. The comments won't come up. I might have to find another job. I don't want to be in a vulnerable management that long. Well, but you already know, bro. That's any anywhere you work, and no matter what your skill is, if a manager or a supervisor or a director or a business or a company sees your potential, of course they're gonna bite into you, bro. You weren't just trying to help them out. You was digging yourself into a permanent position. Yo, that's why I left my old job. It was like no room for growth, and then like they just worked the shit out of me, bro. And I like one of the last conversations I had with like my supervisor in HR, I was like, because I was in HR all the time, bro, complaining all the time. Shit ain't fair, and these motherfuckers racist and all kind of shit. And it's like, I'm not going to allow you to work me harder than any other employee. We should all have the same skill set. We should all have the same knowledge of the job. We should all have the same capabilities to complete our daily tasks. Now, if I can do my shit um, in a timely fashion and adhere to the company's standards and procedures, then everyone else should be able to do the same thing. I'm not going to do more work just because I'm proficient at what I do. Everyone needs to be as proficient as the next man. And if they're not, get rid of them and find somebody else. Because you're not about to work me to death. You're just not. And then, after proving myself after years and years, when a a management position did open up, motherfuckers passed me over. Motherfuckers passed me over for somebody else. And I had to train my new boss to do his job. Had to train my boss to do his job. And it was like, oh, well, we'll give you that position, but on night shift. Nah, I'm not working nights and I'm not changing my crew. I've been on the same crew for 5 fucking years. Been working with the same guys for 5 fucking years. We have a good work relationship and everybody works well together. I should be able to run this shift. If you need somebody new to step into the position to run this shift, I've been on this shift, on this crew for 5 fucking years. I've already ran the crew by myself for months on end when uh, the supervisor we did have, he was out for months. He had some personal shit and he wasn't working for like 3 months. In those 3 months, I was acting supervisor, doing all the paperwork, logging in all the data throughout the day, um, making sure all the orders were complete, and making sure that every man was on their task, assigning different employees to different stations. I did all of that for 3 months, and in those 3 months, they said I actually broke a record um, for pounds of material produced. Like in a 5 year period, I had the highest numbers within that 3 months. Man, we was getting that shit out the door, yo. It broke a record, and only standing supervisor for 3 months. And then that next year, they passed me over for the position. And I was like, that's crazy. For the 3 months that I was basically supervising or managing my shift and my crew, I didn't get a raise for that shit either. You've been doing that shit for 2.5 years. Nah, shit don't fly like that, bro. I feel you. That's why the company I'm with now, like, my direct supervisor is constantly telling me, like, I'm gonna get you more money. I'm gonna get you more money. And I've been there for 4 years, and I've gotten 3 raises already. And I started off part time. So when I first started working there, I wasn't making no money really at all. I wasn't making no money. And then when they hired me on full time, I got like a big ass raise. Like, I think they gave me a $3.50 raise. And then a couple years ago, they gave me like $3 more. Cause like I said, when I started working, I really did it just to be doing something different. Cause I have no experience, no degrees, no certifications, no nothing, no nothing at all. And so just to be able to even experience a work a work atmosphere like that, I was like, I just want to experience this shit. I work in the office. Never thought I'd be working in the office, yo, and have a desk and all that shit. Yo, it's like it's weird, but like they take care of me, and now they want me to, like I said, they want me to start running my own program, and it's going to be more responsibility. But my supervisor is just telling me, yo, like this will come with a pay raise, just so you know. So don't be worrying about that. So that's crazy, bro. A 3K raise every year? Jesus Christ. I gotta get into the tech field, man. That's where the money at. I gotta get into the tech field. And see, the only thing is, I like my job though. That's the best thing about my job is actually I like that shit. I don't got no complaints really. You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing. Like I'm okay making what I make because I don't have to complain about my job. Now, after 4 years of working here, I'm just making what I was making at my last job when I was working in the factory. I'm back to that pay rate now. You know, it took years to get back to making that much money, but I have no stress at all. I don't really stress at work. Well, a little bit because I want to do good. And so that's the only thing that kind of stressed me out is just making sure I stay on top of my shit and make sure that, when I complete task or handle shit, I just do it the best way that I can. Because once again, I'm not trained or certified or went to school for nothing that I do at all. And like, I'm teaching like crazy shit. um, I don't think I got nothing with me, no, but like right now I'm teaching. Shoot, the level that is right above me gets a $25,000 bonus every year. my grade level doesn't qualify, that would be my next level. Just big ass bonus every year. Man, shit. I wish I could just, bro. That's almost what I make in a year. Y'all get my annual salary as a bonus. And when I get bonuses at my job, I've gotten 3 bonuses of $1,000 each time. Like, oh, here's a bonus. They'll throw you $1,000. And then that shit be taxed, so you only really get like 700 some dollars. But hey, $700 is $700. But damn, I couldn't even imagine getting a $25,000 bonus, bruh. I wouldn't even know what to do with all that money. Just because I'm so frugal anyway. I'm just frugal as shit. If I made money like that, most of that shit would just be savings. Investments and savings. I'm gonna be buying properties and investing in shit and just saving all my goddamn money. $25,000 bonus. Man, I'm buying or investing in something big every year. I be trying to throw like a little more in them stocks every week, man. You know, like I wasn't doing that shit weekly, but now I'm trying to just buy like $50 worth of stock each week and start doing my own retirement plan. Cause there's some companies right now, man, with this AI shit, the fucking electric car shit, so batteries and chips, motherfuckers who manufacture shit like that, yo. And some of these new AI companies coming out and weed. I think I'm gonna start looking into some weed stocks next, yo, cause the legal weed business is booming, and that shit just like more and more. I be seeing dispensaries around here and shit. So turkey sandwiches get that little bit of lettuce, just a little bit though, not a whole leaf. I'm gonna just a little, just enough a square of lettuce just to fit on the bread. You know, I get that 25, bro. I get that lettuce. You know, then you can work your way up to like a bag of chips on the side, maybe even a soda. My man P, super frugal with his money too. Motherfucker frugal, bro. Goddamn. But I wish I would have known it earlier to just, cause I've been working since I was 14. I can imagine like if I would have been saving money since 14, like and really understanding credit at a young age and just investments at a young age. But most people tell you to have fun and party while you're young and make mistakes and experiment and all that shit while you're young. You're only young once, and it's like that does sound right. You know what I'm saying? Enjoy your youth and motherfucking go out there and see the world and shit. And then you know what I'm saying? Slow down later in life. But if you do it the other way around, it kind of seems a little bit better because young people don't know a lot of shit. So all you gotta do is work, bust your ass, and save your money. And so you can get to a point where at your middle life, where you do understand more about the world and just are more knowledgeable and you're more squared away financially, then you can travel and go places and do shit like that. But I did it definitely the normal way. Cause I used to have fucking thousands of dollars in my pocket and I don't know. Like what the fuck happened to all that money? That shit crazy. But that'll make a nigga frugal as shit. Cause you see how easy that shit go. That shit come and go fast as hell. And most of the time it go faster than you can get it. And that's the definition of saving. Earning money faster than you spend it. If you earn money faster than you spend it, then you have a surplus. Most people can't even do that shit, yo. Most of us stay in debt. And so as soon as we get money, that shit right out the door. Right out the door. I spend that shit faster than I can earn it. Pete done found the solution though. Turkey sandwiches. That's my downfall, man. Steaks, big ass salmon steaks, motherfucking big ass turkeys and chickens,
Yeah, salmon, oysters.
raw oysters on the half shell. You know what I'm saying? Shit like that be my downfall. You know what I'm saying? I want some birria tacos. Them shit's expensive.
Octopus tacos.
You gotta get like P, man. Just break it down to the meat and the bread.
I don't know about that. I feel like we sacrifice on a lot of other shit, so.
Meat and bread.
Yeah.
I'm just happy I'm not. I do like.
We
I
cut
like
back on a
stuff.
lot of stuff though, food wise.
You know, I'm not really as materialistic as a lot of people, and I don't think I've ever really been material. I went through my phase where, like in high school, I had to have like name brand stuff because if not, people gonna pick at you, and you ain't want to be the kid getting picked at because you got on some Bobos or some rejects. We ain't say it back in the day, but it's still like, where are those? You know, like nobody ain't wanted that shit, so I had to try to keep up with the Joneses then, but like jewelry, that shit never really impressed me. I don't have any necklaces. I got some rings and earrings, and I always like watches, nice watches. Something about I don't know, cause it's useful. You can tell the time on it. But like rings and all that, you can't. It's just there, you know. And I done had gold grill and all that shit, but cars never really try to buy the most expensive car and put the biggest rims and the nicest paint job. Like that shit just never really I don't know. None of that shit never really impressed me. So in that way, like I said, if I had like millions of dollars, like what would I do with that shit? I don't know, cause that fly been in here for a long time, boo.
Did she get it?
No, she almost had
I
it.
heard it chomping.
And if I had all the money, I still don't think like I'm gonna just go get a Bugatti. I'm gonna get two, one white one, one black one. I'm gonna get the brand new electric Hummer. Like, hey, what the fuck? I'm gonna go get those Jordans, those exclusive ones. There's $2,000. Like, man.
I just seen a rapper named Sauce Walker.
Oh, Sauce Walker talk mad cash
He just
shit.
spent $500,000 on a chain.
Yo, that nigga talk cash shit. That's I don't
Half
even
a
think
million.
I.
Do you know what he could have did with that though?
Yeah, what about look Uzi put a big ass.
Oh yeah, his shit was
in
like
his
what,
fucking forehead.
24 mil or something.
It's like niggas do that. Like that's what you do when you get too much money. You ain't got nothing else to do with that shit. I'm just get a $500,000 chain.
Go build a community somewhere.
I mean, some jewelry investment is an investment. It's gold. Gold doesn't
Even
depreciate.
some of them bags.
Diamonds don't depreciate in value, so I can get that. You know what I'm saying? Because
It's over here, boo.
yeah, that shit. Gold and diamonds don't depreciate.
That's the thing too. I be like, get gold, and I don't know. $500,000 for a chain is just crazy to me.
Yeah.
Especially when the rap game is not even what it used to be. It's not like how Wayne and Eminem are still, you know, in their 40s, 50s doing it.
And you ain't got. I mean, like I heard this one billionaire. He's some banker type dude, a legit billionaire. He's like, if more, not rich people, if more wealthy people don't start like doing better by the people employed in their companies and like giving back to the community, he is like one day the pitchforks will come for us. And he is like, I can't spend all my money. I can't have 1,000 houses. On my bed I can't have 100 fucking pillows. All I need is I can't drive 20 cars at one time. And so I know like, yeah, I'm a billionaire, but I do a lot of philanthropic work and I try to give back and I give to charities and everything because I can't spend all this fucking money. My kids and my grandkids won't be able to spend all this money. And so like, he's like just a real evil motherfucker. Like, yo, one day you're gonna eat the rich. You know what I'm saying? It's just you're gonna have to eat the rich if these motherfuckers keep acting this way. Because the wealth gap getting bigger and bigger. This new AI shit is gonna advance things. It's gonna leave a lot of people behind. And it's gonna be another bigger and bigger gap. I don't know, shit is really changing. And that wealth gap is just expanding. And if motherfuckers, they always talk about trickle down economics and redistribution of wealth, they better figure something out. Because California gonna be a homeless state. Texas gonna succeed from the union. Goddamn Mississippi gonna reinstate slavery.
Florida's always been its own damn country.
You know what I'm saying? It's just goddamn all the northern parts are just gonna be smoked the hell out with weed. Like this shit's about to be crazy as hell, bro.
Yeah, well, Oregon, they're all gonna die from drug overdoses. California's gonna burn. Shit, PA might burn too.
Can't find no guitars to match this shit.
Imagine the world not being flooded, but this time it just gets set ablaze.
So, well, that's what the Bible says. I destroyed the world with water, and the second time it will be destroyed by fire.
See? About to change rapidly.
Yo, faster than, and this is the thing, like, I understand this shit gonna change fast, but I already know, like, I don't even realize how fast this shit about to change. I watched this shit yesterday, about this other large language model. So when you hear LLM, that's what that is, a large language model, and basically that's these new AI chat modules that they're releasing to the public. And so they came up with another one called Orca, like the whale. Mm-hmm. And they said they used ChatGPT-4 to train Orca. And now they've been doing that shit with the gaming modules, with the chess game Deep Blue and all that shit. And then Deep Blue trained the next chess playing algorithm. And then when they trained the algorithm to beat somebody in the game of Go, which they thought would never fucking happen. And now with these large language models, and we've been on the internet since 1996. So we've been at it for a while. 20 years. Hold up. 30 years? No. Yeah. 25, almost 30 years we've been on the internet. These modules are based off of everything we've ever typed in, everything we've ever searched. They have billions of parameters that they're trained on, and now they're using it to train the newer one. And then the newer one can use it to train one that's better. And sooner or later we'll be sitting down talking to these motherfuckers just like this, bro. And it's always been, oh well, maybe in 10 or 15 years. We'll be there in 10 years when they were talking about neural nets and deep neural nets, and there's like, oh, maybe in 10 years. Yo, ain't no more 10 years. It's now. That shit was last year. That shit was last year. We're in it now, and we're at the cusp of this fourth industrial revolution. And everybody can see it now. And, you know, people who in Silicon Valley, in the tech fields, motherfuckers like goddamn P, who works in the tech industry, who has a PhD in fucking IT, yo. And so people like this been seeing this shit before the average us. But now it's like, I got this shit on my tablet, like it's there. We all got access to it now. I use Deep Blue since I was an undergrad. It's a big difference between AI, and quantum computing. It's going to get real when they get that quantum shit together, bro. Oh, blue mix. I can't see. You gave me an MPC voice. Chat GPT. Gave an NPC a voice. Yo, I seen that, and I seen this other game studio. They're developing the whole game to be that way, and these LLMs are gonna change role-playing games, bro. I was trying to talk to some of my homies the other day. I've been playing Call of Duty like mostly, been on that shit hard, but like I be trying to have these conversations with my homies, and I was asking them like, do you guys play fucking role playing games? Have you ever played Skyrim or motherfucking Fallout or Cyberpunk? And then nobody played that shit. I'm like, y'all don't like them? Oh man, I play shooters and sports games. I'm like, just
Madden,
that,
2K, and Grand Theft Auto.
just that aspect, just even Grand Theft Auto. Imagine if all the characters, all the NPCs walking around the city, you can actually say something to them and they give you an authentic response to your comment because each individual NPC is a fucking AI, large language module. Like that shit will be crazy. All right, it doesn't have to be all of them, but if they can just put some into a fucking role playing game,
that would be dope.
Like everybody who plays the game will have a genuinely unique experience from everybody else. We're all playing the same game, but your characters will never say the same thing that my characters say, are not exactly the same thing in the same way at the same time. And we'll all experience like almost true to life conversations with a fucking game, yo.
They need to do that shit with Sims.
And they already have. So
because that's my shit.
Stanford University and Google already built a game, and it's 25 bots that they put in like a Sims type environment, and they're letting them do their thing. And these motherfuckers are doing like crazy shit. I haven't heard anything else since the first report that they put out. But in the report they said that 25 bots. Each bot has a brief description of who they are, your name, age. You have a degree in this. You own a restaurant. You cook Chinese food. This is your wife. All her stuff. And then, the wife has her list, and then they may have a kid or whatever. But each bot really does have like a brief description of who they are. And it's 25 of them. And so they said in one test, in one experiment they did, they told one bot, plan a Valentine's party. And that's it. That was the only prompt given to the bot. And they say the way that they train the bots is that when the operator issues a prompt, they call it a whisper. Like the bot hears a thought or a whisper that urges it to do something. Like God is talking to him. And so they told one bot, one simple prompt, plan a Valentine's party. So this bot thought of a day, a place, and a time, and it invited 9 other bots. There's 25 bots in there. It could have invited everybody. It could have invited 4. It chose to invite 9 other bots, and so that's 2 degrees of separation from the prompter to the first bot, from that first bot to 9 other bots. And then out of those 9 bots that were invited, 2 of them decided to go together on a date to the party. And so all of them had to organize and arrange where and what time to be at this certain place to have a Valentine's Day party.
And all the bots came at the same time over there.
Yeah, and they're like...
The fact that they coordinated a date was like...
little simple minds in this fucking sandbox game.
And why not everybody? I'm like, no, only these bots. Is that preference? Is that the other bots aren't as developed as them? Like, I want to know, is that a likeness thing? Because now we're going into some shit that's different than what we've seen before. But remember the guy who was working for Google, and everybody was trying to silence him, and he's like, no.
With Lambda. Yeah.
Yeah, they're like, no. And then now, look, maybe more than a couple months, but a couple months later, and it's like...
That Ghostwire Tokyo, it looks kind of weird. I watched like one dude play like the first 2 hours of it. It's like you don't have a gun, you just shoot the ghost with your spirit energy or something.
What?
It's weird. Yeah, it's like a weird game, Ghostwire Tokyo.
It's a cool name, but
yeah.
Whoever made Grand Theft Auto, I'd be like, Elon, look, I know you're taking a lot of inspiration.
Elon say his self-driving algorithm is there. He said for the past couple of months, he's in San Francisco. He'll get in the car. He'll just put a random pin on a map anywhere in the city, just randomly, and let that shit go. He's like, dude, I've gotten hundreds of hours doing this with no problem in San Francisco, one of the densest, hardest cities to navigate. And he's like, it's good. I've done it personally, hundreds of hours at random, just random spots at random times of the day. And you say that shit don't really got no problem. Now you already know, like he has access to the experimental version that nobody else don't got, but he's like that shit working.
Yeah,
It's
when
like
he says he clicks on a random spot, I believe him.
it's like in about 2 years, it'll be for everybody with no issue.
He probably has a team of people. Like I would imagine you would go to every single state. Because you know how some maps like are weird or don't pull certain things up. So like I would assume he would have people go and like help him map it out and not just do it in California. But I don't know.
I don't know. Once again, if you can, like they said, if you can make it in New York, you can make it anywhere. If you can navigate through San Francisco, that car can probably drive anywhere with no problem. You know, you just pick the hardest place for it to drive.
Yeah, I was gonna say one of the hardest between there, LA, and probably New York City. Yeah. Atlanta gets an honorary, but ain't nothing like LA traffic for me. That was the first time I've been on the highway like that. I'm like, there's how many lanes? What?
Alright, I'm about to get these brushes wet. We already at 86 minutes. I don't know if I'm gonna keep this baseline. But I really do like this beat. I'm gonna keep playing around with that one and see what we can do. Let's see, we'll figure something out. We'll figure something out with that one. Yeah, let me unplug the laptop up, pull up something on YouTube, and see if we can hop on this canvas for a minute. I'm trying to see what I can do next, actually. So, since I do have those colors already on there, I could continue to work on the building, or I could hop into some greens, some blues and greens. You know what? That's what I might do. Because I could stay there, but honestly, I do want to like see what this part looks like real quick. So I'm gonna get some blues and some greens and work on some foliage. Work on that foliage for a minute. There's a little piece of this building. I ain't really feeling that part. I might have to do something. I might have to do something with the top part of that building. What I said about doing? All right, laptop. Yo, y'all seen the phone call from the motherfuckers in Las Vegas talking about they had some aliens in their backyard, and then the cops like an hour before the cops got there, yo, some police officers actually caught some shit on their body cam. It was like this blue orb in the sky, and it looked like it was fucking falling, yo. And the cops was like, "Oh shit, what the fuck was that?" And then a little while later, they got a phone call talking about somebody seeing some 8 or 10 foot creatures in their backyard, yo. Yo, that shit, you can tell that shit is authentic. And then they got body cam footage of the cops actually going to the location. And I don't know. What y'all think, man? Are we on the verge of disclosure right now, or what? And then I heard there were some other like some Pentagon dude or some high-ranking military guy who said that he spilled the beans too, and it was like, yeah, we've recovered several different types of craft that's not made by humans. Like, we don't know who made this shit. And then it was like, well, you know, the counter argument, oh, it could be like China or Russia, and it's like, nah, because these countries, they find their own shit too, yo. Like China done recovered some shit, Russia done recovered some shit, and so, but that still makes me feel like, it makes me feel like that shit is from this planet. Whatever it is, it's from here. Because if you have the technological capabilities to traverse a star system, if you're coming from outside of our star system and you can make it here to a terrestrial planet, like, why would you crash? How would your vehicle ever crash land anywhere? You just travel across the fucking galaxy and then you get to a destination and crash land. That shit never made sense to me. Ever since the first time I heard the Roswell, New Mexico story, it's like a spaceship crash. What? I don't know. I just don't. I don't know.
Speaking of this shit,
How would a spaceship crash?
that looks
What?
crazy.
I still can't. What if you see these signs? You see that
No.
devil?
No, that's something else. I don't know what the hell that is.
Oh, could be. Oh, I think I watched that one yesterday.
I haven't watched
The first time I was like,
I
"Is that
watched
say
some-
devil?" I'm trying
Well,
to look
I
closer.
watched
Like
some Ted Bundy shit earlier, and now my whole algorithm is like the devil, the witches, the
I
this,
read
the
it,
that.
and I was like, "Wait a minute, am I reading this right?"
And you can see I haven't watched it
Yeah.
before. It's not even somebody I'm like subscribed to or
Okay.
anything. But I watched this
I
Ted
don't know
Bundy
why. I was
thing.
like, I said at the death. It was sit by the
No, that's why I was like, not that. Look, and then you read it out loud, and I'm like, please don't.
That's why I had to read out loud. Make sure I'm like, I'm reading this shit
Well,
wrong.
you heard what I was listening to. I was listening to that Ted Bundy thing about how he lured in all his victims. And now all my algorithm is just like serial killers and like devil, witches, religion. Like, I don't know what happened.
Right.
I'm dead.
You realize mainstream media controls that, right? Mainstream media controls a lot of things, but you still have to listen to it and then go find someone else who gives a more unbiased opinion on it. So I listen to the Daily Wire a lot. Um, Michael Knowles, Matt Walsh, Ben Shapiro. I listen to a lot of um, Joe Rogan and all the individuals he bring on his show. I listen to a lot of Lex Friedman and all the individuals he bring on his show. I listen to a lot of Russell Brand. I listen to a lot of Dr. Umar Johnson. Um, but yeah, and the mainstream media is almost as polarized as a political system because now it's everybody saying Fox and CNN, and those are like the major go-to, and nobody talks about Tel Aviv or RTV or motherfucking BBC, all that shit, because you gotta watch what they be saying too. So most people have understanding of aliens. It's American. uh, I don't know if you're right on that. I am American. I have never lived in any other country. I am totally Americanized. I understand American culture way better than any other culture, and so from your perspective, I, I'm not exactly understanding the statement, but kinda. Most people have understanding of aliens. It's American. Like I guess Americans do have our own understanding of what aliens are, and it's we always figure it's some green little people from Mars. Martians. That's our first thing. Say aliens, but Martians or green people. But now, well, that was in the 60s and 70s. But now it's since the 80s and 90s, we see the gray, big-eyed aliens. So most people would kind of describe an alien like that in America. You know, but like once again, we have no real clue. But we have been seeing a lot of shit in the skies lately. I tell you that. A lot of shit has been in the skies, and lots of people have been catching shit lately, and it's pretty fucking weird, to say the least. And then Joe Rogan had uh, Admiral Fravor His name is Mark Faber or somebody, and he gave a testimony about an object that him and his other fighter jet squadrons tracked and tried to follow. And his story is, it sounds outrageous, but he is a high ranking Air Force pilot with thousands of hours of flight experience. He's been doing this shit for years. This is his career. He's not one of those guys who went to the army for 4 years and hopped out. He made a career out of this shit. He is the head of a fighter jet squadron. And this motherfucker tell a story about some shit he's seen and he don't know what the fuck it was. And he says, we don't have anything that can move like that. Nothing moves up and down in reverse, and the shit went underwater and came out the water. He's like, there is nothing we can have that can do that. You know, don't, and he won't, he never said it, you know, Rogan, you know, put the question about, well, do you think it's aliens? He never really said, oh, I don't think. Like, he said he absolutely believed in aliens. He just know that he saw something and he couldn't explain what it was. And it was a physical object that was doing shit that basically, like, defied the laws of physics.
That's crazy.
And world speaker put by and sleep sound alien. All right, bro. Sweet Aurora. I think you need to get a better translation app. They got tons of translators out there. Because I'm seeing you are trying to formulate a whole sentence, but I can also see that English is not your first language, and that's great because you speak better English than whatever I can speak of your native language. All right, running out of time fast. I'm talking too much. Burning time. It's already 4:30. I got home a little bit late because I had to do some after school shit. Then I went to the store, and I stopped by that place that used to be the old thrift store that says something Benz. I drove by that shit, the whole parking lot full of cars. I went up in that shit, and it's just like really bins of just like dumb shit. It's
Wait, what you get from
hmm?
It's just bins.
Yeah, bins. That's what it's called. It's called Prime Bins.
Shipping bins or
No, it's like they got like these bins, like they're about this deep, and they're sitting up high, and it's like I don't know. It's just like these little table carts on wheels. And there's a lot of empty space in there, but it looks like somebody just got a bunch of fucking damaged pallets and opened them shits up and set them shits out in bins. That's all that shit is. I walked through there and I'm like, hell no, I ain't getting none of this shit.
Transgender humor speaker sounded like alien humor speaker. Trans what?
Yeah.
Transgender humor? Is that what you're trying to say? Speaker?
Sounded like alien?
Or did you mean transgender human speaker sounded like an alien? I'm gonna assume you meant a transgender human speaker.
Yo, my man right here, yo, this is what I've been listening to for the past couple days. This nigga be on it.
I did see that, the transgender woman. Did you see?
Speaker?
No, I didn't see that. But they were at the White House shaking hands with oh yes, okay, you meant transgender human. Okay. What is your native language? Cuz like he said, we don't really speak any other languages, but I'm just curious now. There was like a pride thing, but there were kids there. And apparently it's legal to go topless in Washington D.C. But this transgender woman was like doing this and shaking their boobs.
Yo,
and
Carol had showed me that yesterday. Yo,
I'm like, bruh,
that shit be boiling her
man
blood,
or
man.
woman or non-binary person. Why you up there shaking your chest in front of kids?
Yeah, so my coworker, she's like,
She got
this,
banned good.
yo, she's an Orthodox Catholic, but and I tell her, I'm like, yo, you just be pissing, you make yourself mad, because you always check Google News first thing in the morning. And I sit right beside her, she be like, Travis. So she'll point at her computer screen, she's like, this shit just pisses me off. What the fuck is this? Yo, and she showed me that article yesterday. I'm like,
Because that's the thing.
in a picture, it was like the dude was like this. I'm like, what the fuck? She was like, yeah, what the fuck? I'm like,
why is that Pride Month? Yeah, you have
I don't know.
A trans woman and a trans man, and they're up there showing their scars. And that whole free the nipple thing is not what that is about. That's about women that want to breastfeed.
But they say trans women can go topless because they're fake breasts and they're not really women. And it's something, it's always been this sexual stereotype where just in modeling or advertisements or anything, a man can go without a shirt and a woman body is perceived as something better than, and we can't see their breast. You can't look at women's breasts. But now if you're a trans woman who was born a man and you got implants, but they say they can go topless if they want to.
Use this phrase lightly, but my mind has
absolutely. If you want to identify as a woman, then be a woman and deal with the shit that women deal with, and that's being sexualized by men when you have your breast out. That's just a part of it. Most of us would agree that we wouldn't really care about walking around topless in front of a room full of women, but if you get a room full of men, more than likely, no, you're not going to.
Yeah.
So, I get the whole agenda, but it's like, nah, you want to be a woman, then go by our guidelines. Most women would not do that shit. Furthermore, even if you want to do it, like, that's your body. But, like, there was literally a kid right next to me. Like, wow.
And, I think the first person to put that out there was, I think it was Instagram. It said you can post on here. You can post pictures topless on Instagram if you're trans. Instagram was the first place I seen it that said that. Once again, most people won't let you post anything or show anything topless, but Instagram was like in one of their new policies. You never heard that shit?
No.
I think it's in the Instagram policy, and I'm like, so if they can do it there, then it must be you can do that shit anywhere.
So, if you want to be treated exactly like a woman, then that's not really fair, but okay.
Yep. All right, so the title of this clip, so this guy his name is Matthew Berman.
Put Joe Biden to sleep, which put us to shame. Yeah, he definitely was all up in that trans lady's face, and she was just there with her titties out, and he's just like, he was trying to get laid.
This is called How to Install GPT Engineer. Build entire apps with one prompt.
I'm dead, Puff. I'm not sexualizing a dude with boobs.
It just ain't happening, bro.
AI coding partner on the block.
Hey man, they say he can show his boobs.
Incredible. Let me show you what
his fake boobs.
The first
but there is a man that can sexualize and that might like that. So that's what I'm saying. You want to be a woman and
I have not been able
like
to get any other large language model to create this on the first pass. And this new project called GPT Engineer is absolutely able to do this the first time. I'm going to show you how to install this. I'm going to show you how to use it, and you're going to have your mind blown as well. Let's go. This is GPT Engineer. It's a pretty new project, and it aims to take the AI assistant development world to the next level. If you remember a couple weeks ago, I made a video about Small Developer, which was an amazing first take at being able to describe a project and having AI completely write it for you. But it had a lot of shortcomings. This aims to address many of those shortcomings. So let me show you how to install it. So you're really only going to need one thing for this project, and that is Conda. And that is to avoid any Python and module versioning issues. And I've been using it on all my projects now, and it has saved me a ton of headache. So the first thing we're going to to do is clone the repo. So come to GPT Engineer's GitHub page, and I'll drop the link in the description below. Click this little green code button, and click this copy button right next to the repo address. Then we're going to switch over to terminal. Now we're in terminal. I'm on my desktop, and I'm going to say git clone, and then paste the repo in, and hit enter.
And I had something else written on them. They didn't have pickled ginger
to my desktop. Then let's change directory into GPT Engineer. Now we're in that folder. The next
trash
thing we're
bag
going to
sticker.
do
That was
is
the main
create
thing
a
I
new
went for.
conda
I got to take the
environment
trash out
using
tomorrow.
a
And I don't
recent
have no
version of
sticker, so I
Python.
figured
So here
while
I
I
do
get the stickers, I
conda
just grab a
create
little
dash
shit.
dash name. We're going to call it GPT-eng, and we're going to use Python 3.11.3. And then we hit enter. Now it says I already have an environment that exists, and that's what I've been using to test, so I don't mind removing it. You won't get this error though. Then it asks me if I want to install all the necessary packages. Yes, of course. And the next thing we're going to do is activate the environment, and it gives us the code to do that right there. So I copy it, I hit paste, and it's conda activate GPT-eng. Hit enter. Now you can tell we're in this environment because over here, instead of base, it says GPT-eng. The next thing we're going to do is install all of the necessary modules using this command. Python-m pip install -r requirements.txt. Now, the reason I don't do pip directly is because I always want to make sure that I'm using the correct Python version associated with the conda environment. So by starting this command with Python-m, I'm ensuring that Python is associated with the correct Python version. Then I hit enter. There, it installed everything I need. The next thing I'm going to do is open VS Code and then open the specific directory, GPT Engineer. And I already have it open here. So to define the project, we're going to look for the example directory. You can name it anything you want, but I'm going to leave it as example. Open it up, and there's going to be the main prompt. And this is where you're going to describe the type of project that you want written by GPT Engineer. The example is, we are writing Snake in Python. MVC components split into separate files, keyboard control. That's all the example prompt says. You can be as detailed as you want. Now, when we actually run the program, it's going to ask clarifying questions, which I find to be so cool. So I'm going to leave it very simple so you can see it ask for clarifying questions, and then I'll show you what I do from there. So the next thing you need to do is get the OpenAI API key. And if you don't already have an OpenAI account, go ahead and sign up for one and then create an API key. I've done that, and I'm going to enter it right here. So you type export OpenAI API key equals, and then you enter the API key. Keep in mind, I'm going to rotate this API key before publishing this video. Then I hit enter, and that's it. The next thing we do is run the main file, and to do that, we type python main.py example. An example is referencing the folder that contains that main prompt file. Now, if you change the name of that example folder, you would change it here as well. But I didn't, so I'm going to go ahead and push enter. And immediately, it asks me for areas of clarification. So here it is. Summary of areas that need clarification. Details about the Snake game, rules, features, etc. Specifics about the MVC components, model view controller, how to handle keyboard control in Python, file organization and structure. Now, the first time I did this, I didn't give it all of that. I just told it about the Snake game. And instead of typing it all manually, I actually went to ChatGPT and said, output all the rules of the Snake game. Let's take a look at what that looks like. So write a description of the rules of the game Snake so that an engineer could build it. And then ChatGPT gave me everything I need. So I'm just going to copy this. I'm going to switch back to my terminal, and then I'm going to paste it in. Then as soon as I do that, it's going to start outputting what it's going to be building. And we're watching that right here. So it says we're going to need a Snake class. We're going to need a food class. We're going to need a game class, a game view. And it just outputs everything it's going to be building. Now, I'm going to speed up this part of the video, but you can watch it as it goes. And now it's actually writing out the files. Okay, I think it's done. It actually output a lot of what I pasted in here after it was finished creating everything, but that doesn't matter. It should still have worked. So now that we're back in Visual Studio Code, we look at the example folder, and below that, we look at Workspace. And there it is. All the files that it just created. So if we look at main.py, this is what starts it out. It has the Snake class, the game view class, it has everything. And that's it. Now you have a GPT engineer that can write you entire projects with a single prompt. I encourage you to get really detailed in the prompt description. The one feature it doesn't seem to have currently is being able to read an existing code base and iterate on it. although maybe that's going to come soon. I'll try to reach out to the author and see if it is
So
coming.
what kind of
So check
app
it out. Let
can
me
we
know what you
make with
think.
this shit?
If you have any problems getting it installed, jump in my Discord. I'll help you out. If you enjoyed this video, please...
That's the next thing I need to do, because I do have a Discord account. I need to check his channel out. But like, what the fuck what would be a useful app that we can just, you know, now since we don't have to worry about programming this shit, we can just get the AI to program it. All we gotta do is come up with the idea, the concept of something useful on an app. It didn't say, hey, AI engineer, fucking build this shit real quick, man. Well, I need these instructions. Yo, AI, give me the instructions I need to give to the AI to build this shit for me, man. This shit is fucking mind-blowing.
He's discussing object-oriented program. It is better to get to know more about what is under the hood before building stuff.
Man, shit. I'm jumping to the finish line, bro. Jump to the finish line, bro. That's what I said, yo. This is gonna nullify a lot of fucking steps towards getting any kind of degree in the tech field, because everybody's gonna implement this new technology. You can't not use it. And I understand, like, having the absolute fundamental understanding of the basics, the inner workings and components. But that's just like, once again, most photographers use digital cameras now, and you know, most professional photographers use digital cameras. But even though you know, camera started out with film, do modern photographers actually have to know how to load film and develop film and what chemicals they need and have a dark room and all that shit? Not really, bro. Because I can do that shit on my phone. On my own. And it's like, I don't know. And like I said, this technology, once again, it's moving so rapidly. I gotta take a piss. I'll be right back. It's moving so fast that everybody has to use it. We have no choice. Where's the other video I just had? Man. No. Yo.
You already know. If you don't know what we're starting 5 Headlines with today, then you are not a real fan of this show. Why are we starting with it? Because it's big news. I mean, actually big, groundbreaking, should be earth-shattering news. A website called The Debrief has a report this week, actually just came out yesterday, with this headline: intelligence officials say U.S. has retrieved craft of non-human origin. Okay? Now, I want you to listen to this. And you're going to listen to it. So sit down and listen. All of you. Damn it. And care about it. You listen to it and care, because this is important. Reading a little bit, it says, a former intelligence official turned whistleblower has given Congress and the intelligence community inspector general extensive classified information about deeply covert programs that he says possess retrieved, intact, and partially intact craft of non-human origin. The information, he says, has been illegally withheld from Congress, and he filed a complaint alleging that he suffered illegal retaliation for his confidential disclosures reported here for the first time. Other intelligence officials, both active and retired, with knowledge of these programs through their work in various agencies, have independently provided similar corroborating information both on and off the record. The whistleblower David Charles Grush, 36, a decorated former combat officer in Afghanistan, is a veteran of the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency and the National Reconnaissance Office. He served as the Reconnaissance Office's representative to the Unidentified Aerial Phenomena Task Force from 2019 to 2021. From late 2021 to July 2022, he was the NGA's co-lead for UAP analysis and its representatives to the task force. So this is a high-ranking person, and by the way, all of his credentials have been verified, so he's not just some Looney Tune making this up. The credential part we know for sure. So he was involved in these programs at the very top, privy to like the most classified kinds of information, and this is what he's now telling. The task force was established to investigate what were once called unidentified flying objects, or UFOs, and are now officially called unidentified anomalous phenomena, or UAP. The task force was led by the Department of the Navy under the Office of the Undersecretary of Defense for Intelligence and Security. It has since been reorganized and expanded into the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, or AARO, to include investigations of objects operating underwater. Grush said the recoveries of partial fragments through and up to intact vehicles have been made for decades through present day by the government, its allies, and defense contractors. Analysis has determined that the objects retrieved are of exotic origin based on the vehicle morphologies and material science testing and the possession of unique atomic arrangements and radiological signatures. In filing his complaint, Grush is represented by a lawyer who served as the original Intelligence Community Inspector General. Grush says we're not talking about prosaic origins or identities. The material includes intact and partially intact vehicles.
Server trash in Discord?
Now, let's see. There's a lot to this report.
Oh, ever since that motherfucker leaked them Pentagon files, you know that shit.
You can read the entire thing. In fact, you should. You should go read the entire thing. A lot more to the story. But that's the really basic gist of it. And it's incredible. We have, it goes on to explain that it's not just this guy. There are multiple whistleblowers confirming the existence of alien spacecraft. This is the kind of thing that's never happened before, where they come out and say, yes, it's real, yes, we have it, yes, it's from non-human origin, and they've been recovered and studied for years, for decades. But yet, of course, somehow this like barely even makes it trends. So this story was trending on Twitter anyway yesterday, but somehow it's not treated as major headline news, which obviously it is. And actually, there's more to it. This whistleblower had an exclusive interview on News Nation last night, which I can tell you that is a 10-minute segment. Again, well worth watching. Go to News Nation. Go to their YouTube channel. They have it up.
News Nation.
I tell you, I gathered my entire family. In fact, I got my kids. My kids had gone to bed, and I had them come out of their rooms because someone sent me this. I didn't know the guy did an interview on News Nation, and so my kids came out of their rooms after they'd already gone to bed. So and I got my wife to gather around, and I said, look, come on, kids, come on, family, it's a family moment. We're going to watch this interview. You're going to remember this moment for the rest of your life. And we watched the interview, and they were bored kids up. Like,
get the fuck up, Lindy.
My wife started wandering away in the middle of it.
What's this, Dad?
It's only 10 minutes.
Some alien shit. Watch this shit right now.
To learn about aliens? I won't subject you to 10 minutes, but here's 1 minute with some additional information about what this guy says the government has recovered. Listen.
If you're right, if you're telling us the truth, everyone, the entire American public, has been lied to for decades.
Yeah, there's a sophisticated disinformation campaign targeting the U.S. populace, which is extremely unethical and immoral.
You are saying to the human race, for the first time, an official intelligence representative at a high level from the US government is saying publicly, we are not alone.
We're definitely not alone. Absolutely, the data points empirically that we're not alone, yeah.
Do we have bodies? Do we have species of
Well, naturally, when you recover something that's either landed or crashed, sometimes you encounter dead pilots. And believe it or not, as fantastical as that sounds, it's true.
So he's saying that we not only have the vehicles, but they actually have actual extraterrestrial aliens in their possession. Now, let me answer a few objections. There are objections that are raised, by people very close to me. Like, for example, my own wife, my coworkers here. We're not alone in the universe, but I feel alone sometimes as a UFO enthusiast, especially working here. So objections raised, but the real objection people have, I think, is that they rule it out as a possibility because they don't want to think about the implications if it's true. I think that's actually what's going on. And we'll get to that in a second. But So there's the real objection, which is that there are people, especially some conservatives, who think that, like, I can't believe this. I just can't. Not that it's unbelievable, but I can't allow myself to believe it because I think it has implications that are scary to me. But that's not usually what's said. Instead, it's something, they cite other reasons. And one of them is that this is a distraction by the government. It's trying to distract us. That's all this is. But that's nonsense, first of all, because these stories don't get a lot of attention, right? They get some attention, but they're not. It's not something that dominates the news cycle for days on end.
Like the spy balloons.
Many people don't care that much. So they should care, I think, but they don't. So the distraction theory is totally baseless. It makes no sense. It's not a distraction. People don't focus on it that much. Not to mention the whole idea that the government would need to invent these kinds of stories to distract us. We're distracted all the time anyway by a million different things. So they need to come up with some totally outlandish story about aliens that they've recovered to distract us when we're already... I mean, most people, they spend 10 hours a day just like scrolling randomly through TikTok and watching Netflix. You think that the American public needs to be distracted by this?
Well, I don't do 10 hours, bro.
It's like you're flattering us, okay? As if we're all, laser focused on the important issues. And so they have to come up with some crazy distraction mechanism. That's not the case. I wish it was, but it's not. Are you tired of waiting ages for your grill to heat up? Now you can say goodbye to those tedious moments of impatiently watching the charcoal burn and say hello to instant barbecue perfection, thanks to our new friends and they're very good friends already because they gave me one of these. Our friends at Grill Blazer. Grill Blazer, I'd show things. They don't have to go all the way to aliens. So the theory doesn't make any sense. Also, if your argument against these stories is that you don't trust the government, well, for decades, the government denied all of this. They lied to us. They made up all kinds of ludicrous explanations for these phenomena. Now you're just parroting what the government has said for decades. The intelligence community on the record for decades has said, no, there's nothing going on. Everything's fine. Everything's cool. So who's the one trusting the government here? Besides, these are mostly whistleblowers telling us about this. These are not official government agencies. In fact, the Pentagon came out with an official statement denying this. So you can believe the whistleblower or you can believe the official statement from the Pentagon. And if you're skeptical of the government, which one are you going to trust? You're skeptical of the government, so you trust their official statement and not the whistleblower who gains nothing by saying this. He destroys his entire career, potentially puts himself, who knows? He could be prosecuted, knows what they're going to do. So, like, if skepticism of government is one of your primary motivating things, which I totally understand, then that should lead you to lending some credibility to this. I've also heard the theory. In fact, I was just talking to Michael Knowles about this in Wardrobe, and he was speculating it was a misdirect. This could be a misdirection, right? Because really, this is our own tech, and that people are seeing. And we're claiming aliens so that China doesn't know, or whoever, one of our adversaries, doesn't know that we have this technology. But that makes no sense, as I explained to him just a few minutes ago.
I do think it comes from here, though.
They also are saying, this whistleblower is saying, other countries have recovered this stuff, too. So China would know if the alien story is totally made up. Like, you're not going to misdirect them. They know if it's true or not. So the idea that we're trying to fool our adversaries who also have high-level classified information of their own, and we're trying to fool them by making up a story about aliens, to me is ridiculous. Now, then there's the question of evidence, and there are some people who say, yes, we're 10 minutes into it, we're still talking about this. There are people who say, well, it's not enough evidence. It's just hearsay, right? Well, you got to take the whole picture into account. This is just the latest whistleblower, somebody very high up on the chain, who, as far as I can tell, stands to gain nothing from this, who had access to very classified information, verified by other officials, denied officially by the Pentagon. But it's the latest in a chain of events that includes all kinds of sightings, thousands of them, accompanied by photographic and video evidence, radar. It's been going back... there was many famous sightings going back years and years and years, going back decades. There was the famous sighting that I think they covered in Unsolved Mysteries, the latest Unsolved Mysteries series on Netflix in Michigan, where hundreds of people
the They Live movie,
saw these things.
Crazy movie.
simultaneously, and we're calling in. We have the 911 reports of them calling in, reporting what sound very much like flying saucers, and it was caught on radar by the National Weather Service at the same time. So many things like that. So you've got eyewitnesses, you've got classified information, you've got physical evidence, you do have videos, we have radar. So there's actually a lot of evidence here, which makes so if it's still not enough for you to even entertain the possibility, then I have to ask you, what do you need? If this isn't enough to even make you pause to think about it, then what evidence do you need? What that tells me is that there is no evidence that you could ever be presented that would convince you. I think that is the case for some people. Like, you could literally see them land right in front of you, and you would still say, "Oh, it's AI, it's mind control." It's like you would go to any other explanation, but that. And I think that's because there's a large portion, especially of conservatives, who think, because conservatives tend to be more religious, and who think that they can't believe this because it would call their faith into question. But that's not true. Let me relieve you of that burden. There's nothing about the potential existence of life elsewhere in the universe that would call your faith into question. It just, we know the universe is massive, and there's lots of things going on in the universe we don't know about. And we probably can't even understand, because God has created a universe that is much bigger and more complicated and more amazing than maybe you give it credit for. I don't see how that calls it anything. Now, it raises questions that we can't answer all. It raises all kinds of questions, religious questions, scientific questions that we can't answer because some of this stuff is above our pay grade. But who says we have to understand every last thing? We have to be able to understand every last thing about the universe. And as far as the Bible goes, the Bible isn't concerned with talking about what's happening elsewhere in the universe. Doesn't acknowledge like other planets at all, really. Doesn't mean it denies they exist. It's just it's focused on what's happening here. So I don't think that that's a concern you need to have, but I do think that that is really the fundamental reason why many people refuse to even look at the evidence, because they think that they are committed to not believing it, and I think that that's just not true. You can be open-minded, look at the evidence, and at least acknowledge that, again, the universe is a bigger and more complicated place than any of us could possibly understand. And there are, putting aliens aside, there are things happening out there in the vast cosmos that we can't possibly wrap our minds around. All right, that's my pitch. At least I didn't start the show. I was very close to making this the lead story of the show. I probably should have. If you'd like to see what else I have to say, you can access my full show by going to dailywire.com or by going to the Matt Walsh Show Twitter page. Hope to see you there. Godspeed. To like the most classified kinds of information, and this is what he's now telling. The task force high-ranking person, and by the way, all of his credentials have been verified, so he's not, is a veteran of the National Geospatial officials, both active and retired, with knowledge of the human origin. The intelligence official turned whistleblower is of non-human origin. Okay? Now, I want you to listen to this.
Where did he say?
And you're going to listen to it.
Was?
So sit down and listen, all of you. Damn it. Has a report this week, actually just came out yesterday, with this headline: intelligence official, because it's big news. I mean, actually big, groundbreaking, should be earth-shattering news. A website called the Debrief has a report this week, actually just came out yesterday.
The Debrief.
With this headline: intelligence officials say U.S. has retrieved craft of non-human origin.
He said it was somewhere on YouTube, too, the interview.
Okay. Now, I want you to listen to this, and you're going to listen to it. So sit down and listen, all of you, damn it, and care about it. You listen to it and care, because this is important. Reading a little bit, it says, a former intelligence official turned whistleblower has given Congress and the intelligence community inspector general extensive classified information about deeply covert programs that he says possess retrieved, intact, and partially intact craft of non-human origin. The information, he says, has been illegally withheld from Congress, and he filed a complaint alleging that he suffered illegal retaliation for his confidential disclosures, reported here for the first time. Other intelligence officials, both active and retired, with knowledge of these programs through their work in various agencies, have independently provided similar corroborating information both on and off the record. The whistleblower David Charles Grush, 36, a decorated former combat officer in Afghanistan, is a veteran of the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency and the National Reconnaissance Office. He served as the Reconnaissance Office's representative to the Unidentified Aerial Phenomena Task Force from 2019 to 2021. From late 2021 to July 2022, he was the NGA's co-lead for UAP analysis and its representatives to the task force. So this is a high-ranking person, and by the way, all of his credentials have been verified, so he's not just some Looney Tune making this up. The credential part we know for sure. So he was involved in these programs at the very top, privy to like the most classified kinds of information, and this is what he's now telling. The task force was established to investigate what were once called unidentified flying objects, or UFOs, and are now officially called unidentified anomalous phenomena, or UAP. The task force was led by the Department of the Navy under the Office of the Undersecretary of Defense for Intelligence and Security. It has since been reorganized and expanded into the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, or AARO, to include investigations of objects operating underwater. Grush said the recoveries of partial fragments through and up to intact vehicles have been made for decades through present day by the government, its allies, and interview, and they were bored by it. Like, they didn't even care. My wife started wandering away in the middle of it. I said, where are you going? It's only 10 minutes. Can you spare 10 minutes to learn about aliens? I won't subject you to 10 minutes, but here's 1 minute with some additional information about what this guy says the government has recovered. Listen. Oh, come on, kids. Come on, family. It's a family moment. We're going to let them come out of their rooms. Because someone sent me this. I didn't know they have it up. I tell you, Whistleblower had an exclusive interview on News Nation last night, which I can tell you that is a 10-minute segment. Again, well worth watching. Go to News Nation. Go to their YouTube channel. They have it up.
News Nation is what I've been looking for this whole time.
It's everything you wish for. Your site traffic is skyrocketing until this happens. Be careful what you wish for. Build your site on a platform that's engineered for success. So as traffic spikes, instead of overlooking.
Bombshell claims from a military whistleblower. UFO wreckage recovered by the U.S. kept classified by a secret government program for decades. Tonight, a world television exclusive you will only see on News Nation. Welcome to Elizabeth Vargas Reports, earning your trust every night. UFOs exist. The U.S. government found quite a number of them, and they are indeed of non-human origin. Those are the explosive allegations from a former intelligence officer tonight in a whistleblower complaint that the Inspector General is taking very seriously. 36-year-old Air Force veteran David Grush is exposing what he calls a top-secret military program that has reportedly found wreckage of fully intact UFOs. The government now calls them UAPs, or unidentified anomalous phenomena. For years, there have been whispers and rumors that the government had aircraft of non-human origin. This report is the first evidence it might be true. The Inspector General has called Grush's complaint urgent and credible. Tonight, we have a world television exclusive interview with the whistleblower in which he claims we not only have the aircraft, but the government has been keeping much of its secret from Congress and from the public. News Nation senior national correspondent Brian Entin is here with the story, and this is a blockbuster.
It is a blockbuster. It's really hard to wrap your mind around this. I've been working on this for the past couple of weeks. I'm still having a hard time processing all of it. Over the last couple of years, it sort of became mainstream to discuss UFOs. The government has released videos. They've acknowledged that we don't know what some of this stuff is out there that we have on camera, but this really takes it all to another level. For the very first time, the world is about to hear from a former high-level U.S. intelligence officer who says the government has some of the unidentified craft in its possession. He is revealing these exclusive details about the secret government program.
We're going against the wind. The wind's 120 knots to the west. Oh my gosh, dude. Wow.
We have all seen these blurry videos of unidentified flying objects. Video evidence, if you will, that old tales of UFOs may not all be conspiracy theories. In recent years, Congress starting an official U.S. government Unidentified Aerial Phenomena Task Force, recently renamed the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, or AARO. And now in a News Nation exclusive, David Grush, an Air Force veteran, former member of that task force, and veteran of the National Geospatial Intelligence Agency, is formally blowing the whistle on secrets he says no one has ever shared publicly before.
You are one of the most trusted former intelligence officials in the US defense and intelligence establishment.
Yes, I was.
You were trusted with the most intimate secrets.
Yes.
Grush sitting down with award-winning investigative journalist Ross Coulthart, who's reporting for News Nation and has spent years reporting on the UFO question.
What conclusion did you come to at the end of your time on the UAP task force?
The UAP task force was refused access to a broad crash retrieval program.
When you say crash retrieval, what do you mean?
These are retrieving non-human origin technical vehicles, call it spacecraft if you will, non-human, exotic origin vehicles that have either landed or crashed.
We have spacecraft from another species.
We do, yeah.
How many?
Quite a number.
You're kidding.
No. I thought it was totally nuts, and I thought at first I was being deceived. It was a ruse. People started confiding in me. They approached me. I have plenty of current former senior intelligence officers that came to me, many of which I knew almost my whole career, that confided in me. They were a part of a program. They named the program. I've never heard of it. And they told me, based on their oral testimony, and they provided me documents and other proof, that there was, in fact, a program that the UAP task force was not read into.
Grush alleges the U.S. government has recovered non-human craft for decades. He's filed a whistleblower complaint saying he gave what he calls the classified proof to Congress and the Intelligence Community Inspector General. News Nation has confirmed David Grush's credentials and resume. We've not seen or verified the alleged proof he says he's provided to investigators. He says he can't show us the proof for national security reasons. He also tells us he's not seen photos of the alleged craft himself, but has talked extensively with other intelligence officials who have.
If you're right, if you're telling us the truth, everyone, the entire American public, has been lied to for decades.
Yeah, there's a sophisticated disinformation campaign targeting the U.S. populace, which is extremely unethical and immoral.
You are saying to the human race, for the first time, an official intelligence representative at a high level from the US government is saying publicly, we are not alone.
We're definitely not alone. Absolutely, the data points empirically that we're not alone, yeah.
Do we have bodies? Do we have species of...
Well, naturally, when you recover something that's either landed or crashed, sometimes you encounter dead pilots. And believe it or not, as fantastical as that sounds, it's true.
It's also harder for people to wrap their minds around the concept of a crashed object from somewhere else. It's easier to accept that, yeah, we see things in the sky that we can't explain.
Journalist Leslie Kean broke Grush's whistleblower story this morning in the debrief. Ms. Kean's career has been mainstream and credible, having written a series of reports on UFOs in the New York Times dating back to 2017.
He has the credentials, but there's no documents that he's handed over. There's no pictures. And as a journalist, you want to see documents, you want to see pictures. Does that raise a red flag?
Not at all, Brian. I mean, you mean documents that actually describe the craft?
Correct, yeah, like documents, or to be able to see it for ourselves.
Of course, don't we all want that? And the problem with that is all of that information is classified. You know, as we said in the story, everything that Grush told Congress and told the Inspector General of both the IC, the Intelligence Community Inspector General, and the Department of Defense Inspector General, all of that information is classified.
In 2017, Kean reported exclusively in the New York Times that the Pentagon had a secret UFO program. 3 years later, the Pentagon confirmed her story. Her latest report is even more explosive, but Kean says she has multiple sources who back up Grush's story.
I believe it because of all the sources I have who have told me the same thing. So who am I to doubt these very, very high-level people who have been inside these programs for decades, have done their work, and are all telling me the same thing? I mean, I don't think there's some kind of conspiracy among all these people who don't know each other to make something like this up.
So I've got to be blunt about this. You're not making this up. This is not a lie.
No, absolutely not.
Most people have no clue that in 2023, the best way to make money on Amazon is not with physical products. It's Amazon's other company, Audible. Audible pays me $8,000 to $10,000 every single month in passive income, and I'm not the only one. People like Katrina and...
Because everybody watching this right now is looking at your face.
Mm-hmm.
They're going, is this guy for real?
I am for real. And I'm sitting here at great personal risk and obvious professional risk by talking to you today.
And just within the last 10 minutes or so, the Pentagon has released a statement to News Nation about this report. They say to date, AARO has not discovered any verifiable information to substantiate claims that any programs regarding the possession or reverse engineering of extraterrestrial materials have existed in the past or exist currently. AARO is committed to following the data and its investigation wherever it leads. AARO, working with the Office of the General Counsel and the Air Force Office of Special Investigations, has established a safe and secure process for individuals to come forward with information to aid AARO in its congressionally mandated historical review. AARO's historical review of records and testimonies is ongoing and due to Congress by June 2024, and AARO welcomes the opportunity to speak with any former or current employee or contractor who believes they have information relevant to this historical review. And Elizabeth, we know that David Grush's filed that whistleblower complaint. He's been on the record under oath testifying to many of these things that he said in our report tonight.
Right, and it's important to point out that this statement from the Pentagon, from AARO, Grush is alleging that this top secret program is keeping the secret from AARO. So.
Yeah, exactly. And if Grush is, what he's saying is true, the spokespeople, all of those folks at that level wouldn't even know this was going on anyway.
All right, I gotta ask you, he has a compelling story to tell. Very little of it seems like firsthand knowledge. Isn't he just repeating what somebody else has told him or somebody else has showed him?
Yes, that is what he's doing, but he says he's talked to a number of people who are in very, very high-level positions. He also had basically the highest level of classified material information that he was able to receive. We went back and checked over, his history, all of his credentials. Check out completely. Unfortunately,
in addition, a couple people have come forward publicly to vouch for him, people who are high-ranking.
They have, and this article first came out this morning, and I think it's interesting that, there hasn't been any sort of effort to discredit what he has said, either from the Defense Department.
So interesting. So what happens, and have we had any reaction, by the way, from members of Congress who have been taking this seriously in the last couple of years? We've seen congressional hearings, we've seen NASA's hearing just about a week ago on UFOs or UAPs, whatever you prefer to call them. We've seen the DNI give a briefing to the White House on this. We've been hearing whispers and rumors for years. I remember even former President Trump, when he was in office, sort of saying, oh my gosh, if you knew what I knew about UFOs.
Yeah.
So there's always been this intrigue.
There has, and think about it, Elizabeth, if you go back 15 or 20 years, if we were sitting here talking about UFOs, people would think that we were nutty. Now it's gotten to the level of where it is somewhat accepted because the government has come forward to a certain extent and acknowledged that there are these videos that exist. The Navy has released the videos themselves and said, we're not sure exactly what this is that we're seeing. Of course, what Grush is saying really just sort of takes it to the next level.
Boy, it sure does. It's almost impossible to believe. All right, Brian Entin, thanks so much.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com to find News Nation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of News Nation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.
Creator is a low-code application development platform that has helped organizations of different sizes to modernize their IT. Build custom applications for your unique business need fast using our intuitive drag-and-drop interface. Try Zoho Creator.
In recent reporting, author Michael Schellenberger writes that multiple sources have confirmed whistleblower David Grush's claim that the United States government possesses a number of non-human vehicles. These sources are, quote, either high-ranking intelligence officials, former intelligence officials, or individuals who could be verified as being involved in the United States government UAP efforts for 3 or more decades, according to his reporting. Schellenberger writes that the individuals said they had seen or been presented with, quote, credible and verifiable evidence that the U.S. government and U.S. military contractors possess at least 12 or more alien spacecraft, some of which they shared with AARO or the All-Domain Anomaly Resolution Office, quote, which AARO has refused to provide Congress. The office reportedly said it has not discovered any verifiable information, end quote, because it does not have the authority to verify it and may not want to verify it. Joining us now to discuss is Twitter Files author and author of Apocalypse Never, Michael Schellenberger. Thank you for being with us, Michael.
Good to be with you.
So, confirmation, aliens are real. This is exciting. What do you make of the baker's dozen of alien spacecraft that we have?
Well, I think it's worth just pointing out that this is very shocking. The whistleblower in question, David Grush, used the term ontological shock, which is a little bit of jargon, but what he means is that the idea that we are not alone, in the abstract, is something that everybody, I mean, not everybody, but many people, the large majority of people agree with, that we are almost certainly not alone in the universe. However, the idea that there may already be contact or have been contact for quite a while between the U.S. military and non-human intelligence, non-human life forms, is very shocking, and it's shocking for me personally. There's things I kept out of the story that I think were just too shocking and certainly harder to confirm. But I do think it's clear that the conversation about this has progressed from the idea that the Pentagon simply has some videos to a large and growing number of people with reason to know who say that, in fact, there are non-human spacecraft.
That is very intriguing that there's things that you left out of the story. I hope that you'll continue to investigate them. I'm wondering how exactly these sources determined that these crafts were non-human. Was it the material they were made out of, the method of construction? How exactly did they make that determination?
Yeah, I mean, I think that there wasn't much doubt. There are programs, according to these folks, that exist to not just study these technologies, but attempt to reverse engineer them. There was some, disagreement or different levels of knowledge about the success in that. Certainly, the idea had been that there was efforts to try to operate these craft or reverse engineers to create them. There's one very interesting story, which is that a major aerospace company apparently tried to involve greater civilian scientists and engineers to reverse engineer the vehicles because the stovepiping or compartmentalization that exists really prevents the kind of innovation and sharing of knowledge that's actually essential to being able to achieve scientific and engineering goals. And so there was a very briefly floated idea to involve a larger number of scientists and engineers that was apparently rejected by the Pentagon. So these are, extraordinary claims require extraordinary evidence. At the same time, extraordinary claims, you don't need extraordinary evidence to simply investigate them. And the claim here is that these craft are real physical objects. This is not a mass hallucination, that they exist in specific military bases or in contractor facilities, and that members of Congress can go and actually find these facilities, or go and actually make sure they get their way in there and try to find these craft themselves.
So obviously this is amazing that we have the craft at all, but I can't help but wonder, were there pilots of the craft? Do we know anything about that? Is there anything you can say to that effect?
David Grush, the whistleblower, did say on News Nation that there were, in some cases, non-human pilots. What? I did have confirmation of that from one of my sources. I kept it out of the story, in part because it was one source, and also I felt like I really wanted to establish that there is strong evidence that there are craft, and I didn't want to get too much into what I had been told about the different potential of there being beings. It's a lot of ontological shock with just the craft, and I felt like, let's just give this a minute and let's spend a little...
Yo, shit getting crazy. Man, we got AIs and aliens. We got AI aliens. AIs and aliens. Never thought I'd see the day. Never thought that I would see the fucking day, bro. But the day is here. You know? The day is actually here. Aliens and... Hey, don't come here and throw it up. What the fuck you doing? Yo, stop. AIs and aliens. That might be the name of my next mixtape. Yo, these are the craziest times, yo. And that would be a dope title for an album. That's what I said. Yo, I didn't even read it, bro. Hey, might be the title of the next mixtape, bro. AIs and aliens. Oh, crazy times, man. Crazy times. Stay up on the whatever source y'all get y'all news from. Stay up on that shit, man. That shit changing day by day. I sure appreciate y'all chilling in the studio with me every time. You know what I'm saying? We got a little progress in there. We painted a little bush, a little happy bush today. You know, it only took me 17 hours to get that done. But we'll be back on it again tomorrow afternoon. I'll catch y'all boys later. Peace.